Welcome back to Kryptolytix, giving a fresh take on crypto analytics. And this is your crypto recap, where I cover some of the things going on in the crypto space. So let's jump in. Okay, so here we are on the cycle chart, and look at that, we really didn't get much of a pullback. We had a pretty dovish Jerome Powell in the Fed meeting. So what basically happened was, we sort of dumped into the meeting, or we started sort of, well, as you saw in the day leading up to the meeting, we had pullbacks across the board on altcoins, Bitcoin, pretty much everything across the board was pulling back. But what happened was after the actual meeting itself, and there's another one, right, where more clarification will be discussed. But essentially what happened was the market read Jerome Powell's words as incredibly dovish, which is very bullish. So we actually got a massive dump on the DXY, which generally is a pretty bullish sign. It's recovered a little, and you can see right here, but it's still just stuck in this range, to be honest. But when the DXY goes down, the risk assets tend to go up. So in terms of the trend, well, we had a bullish TK cross above the 200 period here, and that's what this green trend is down the bottom. And then it broke that into a bearish trend here, and it kind of started to create another bullish trend. But now, as you can see with this little bar down the bottom here, it's establishing a new trend to the downside. But I mean, this is just going sideways, let's be honest. So anyway, DXY going down, which that was yesterday, generally tends to be pretty bullish for risk assets, but I don't know, I don't really see all that much happening here. Probably on low time frames it looks a lot more dramatic, this candle, but when you zoom out it looks like barely anything. So I mean, from what I can see, at least in the short term, we've got some pretty bullish short-term price action going on. Bitcoin essentially came back up to where it was before. We have a look on the lower time frames here on the 1 hour. We can see, and as I mentioned with the stochastic heat map, when we get blue, those are some pretty good buying opportunities, right? I did mention that, and we got into some pretty dark blue here. So you can see the bottom of the stochastic heat map here. We got some pretty dark blue, and surely enough, it bounced right out of there, essentially. And it came back up to about 68K, 68,200. So it's just consolidating at the moment, and I guess trying to decide where it wants to go next. But for the time being, I mean, it looks pretty bullish. We have this downtrend line here, which started to establish, which now has broken out. So we'll have to see if it can hold here and start to move up from here, or if it's just a temporary reprieve and then we continue to the downside. We don't really know. We'll have to see what the market decides. So anyway, I'll just keep it brief on the Bitcoin chart for now. I covered many charts in my last video, so I just want to, I guess, cover the ecosystem stuff now, more so. Okay, so let's get into the Solana ecosystem then, shall we? And sorry about the slow motion video that you're getting here. I'm on a different computer because I had to leave my main computer elsewhere while I am in Thailand. So I've just come back from feeding a bunch of stray cats. And let's check out and see what's going on with the Solana ecosystem. Now, I did share a lot of this stuff already, and some new stuff as well that I actually haven't shared on my X. So let's just get into it, shall we? Now, you may have seen this one because it's been reposted by a lot of Solana influencers on X, and yeah, I mean, this definitely deserves some merit because this is from CoinGecko, who is one of the two big titans in terms of portfolio tracking and sort of where you go to see what coins are trending, and the 24-hour performance and stuff like that on coins and stuff like that. They do quite a bit of stuff for the crypto space, and essentially what they've done here is they've created this list of blockchain ecosystem global traffic share. So this is from January 1st till March 18, and you can see that Solana occupies 50% of it, which is absolutely insane. I mean, when you look at some on-chain metrics, you can see that BNB chain surprisingly is still holding its own still, but I mean, it's barely getting any search queries in CoinGecko. I mean, you've got Solana and Ethereum and BNB chain as the top three. And I think emerging, we're starting to see base, which is Coinbase's L2, start to push up more and more and more. I was a little bit disappointed to see Injective all the way down the bottom, you know, for a chain that's super fast and has had zero downtime and has a pretty good ecosystem building out, but it's pretty far down the list, to be honest. And actually, Toncoin is pretty high up, to be honest. And so I think that makes sense because how many people will use Telegram? I think a lot of people have Telegram accounts. And so the user base potential is quite high, same as Coinbase, because of Coinbase has potential for some very high market share. So I guess there's those main things. Upstream's holding its own pretty well, and Avalanche is up there, but Solana is absolutely dominating in the L1 and L2 space. There aren't that many L2s even in this list, to be honest. I mean, at least near the top. Cardenzo, unfortunately, sitting pretty far down the bottom. Phantom's really far down, but I think we'll start to see Polkadot and Phantom start to move up because they're rebranding themselves and going and taking a sort of new model with regards to their DeFi and everything like that. So, you know, because we had Polkadot with the parachain auctions, which I think was a bit of a flop, that made me pretty bearish. I didn't like the whole parachain options personally, although I know a developer that has developed dApps for Polkadot and he's super bullish on it. But I think that with the new developments, Polkadot will probably start to pick up a fair bit more. But anyway, like these chains further down the list, pretty, you know, disappointing for them, I'm sure. But yeah, we can see that Stay and Sui are holding their own in the pack. So anyway, just thought I'd bring that up because I thought that was worth the mention. Solana's absolutely dominating here. And again, like we can see, Mert here has posted that Solana has flipped Ethereum in worldwide Google search interest. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, this is Ethereum here. You can see this juggernaut, absolute juggernaut. And then recently, you can see just at the end of the chart and table here that Solana has just flipped it in this date range here. So between the 17th to 23rd, well, obviously, well, we're not on the 23rd yet. It's kind of looking to the future, isn't it? But Solana's 24 and Ethereum's 21. So big time interest coming to Solana. And Ethereum's going to need to pull a rabbit out of its hat if it wants to keep up with Solana, I think, at this stage. Now let's have a look at Perp DEXs on Solana that have made over 18 billion in on-chain volume within a month. So here's a snapshot of all the projects. This is from Sitesh, and covered Drift a fair bit on my channel. And I've also covered Mango, and I've also covered Jupiter, obviously. Parcel Little and Flash, I've mentioned that a few times as a potential airdrop candidate. And I think, yeah, Drift is kind of the big dog at the moment. Drift, though, I mean, surprisingly for where it's at, it's still relatively illiquid or something to that effect, because I still have orders not fill within Wix. So is that a representation of the Solana market or Perp DEX market as a whole, or is that a representation of how Drift operates? I'm not really sure. So because it doesn't fill based on the Oracle, it fills based on the order book. So some still pretty impressive figures here. I mean, you got 20 crypto assets. Approximate daily volumes 150 to 200 million. That's really not that bad at all, though Jupiter has absolutely taken over there. But I think the thing about Jupiter that I'm not the biggest fan of is that it's market orders only. And I like limit orders. I like to be able to place some orders and then go away from my computer. But, you know, if you've got a strategy where, you know, it just sends you an alert maybe once or twice a day on the 12-hour candle, then, well, potentially your market orders would be perfectly fine. TVL's 300 million for both, and the others are pretty far behind. Parcel's, you know, 167 million. That's pretty impressive nevertheless. Flash, as I mentioned before, very, very small. Very, very small amount. Mango I did have a short on Bitcoin, which I posted on my X, which I did close when I saw some of that bullish momentum coming back to the market. Very small profit, not even worth mentioning. So, well, clearly I didn't mention it before, did I? And yeah, now I'm just in my long on Bitcoin. My long is in Drift, and that's using the pivot search. So anyway, the open interest is 100 to 220 million. Probably the highest amount of open interest, actually, compared to the others. And Parcel's actually got the most number of unique wallets interacting with the protocol. Now, you have to also remember this could be a Sybil airdrop farm strategy that people are taking, where they're setting up, you know, 40 wallets. That's a lot of effort. maybe more like 5 or 10 wallets just to farm points for Parcel. So that could be the reason why Parcel has got such a large amount of unique wallets. I think Jupiter and Drift quite clearly in terms of real users, probably fair to say they're the ones that are taking the cake there. Max leverage 20, now that's only on certain tickers, so that would be on Ethereum, that would be on Bitcoin, but Solana, for example, I think is a 10x, and you've got others that are much smaller. So, you know, that's just the max leverage, but I just can't believe this. Flash has got 200x. Wow, that'd be like liquidation if price went against you for like 0.02% or something like that. That's so degen. And yeah, even Jupiter has really high leverage as well. So at the moment, Drift just has a point system. Again, Flash has point system, future airdrop, and Jupiter has the Jupe token with points as well, because you literally can still farm points. And everything else is pretty much points. Now, Goose effects I covered in a video back in 2022. So, I mean, it's been a long time since I've even mentioned them, but, or maybe I mentioned them last year as well at some point, but they've got their own token. Mango, now, I mean, I've got a video about Mango, and I'm very apprehensive to put a large amount of capital in Mango after they had their exploit. You can watch my video in the link above, if you wish, about the Mango exploit. And that guy that did that actually went to jail, and potentially SBF was involved in that as well. And he also went to jail, so... Yeah, I don't know if they're doing any future airdrops, Mango. I mean, they've got to kind of recover from that. But anyway, I think that's probably enough of that. In terms of the Perp DEXs on Solana, there's some pretty decent Perp DEXs on Solana. Zeta's a really good one too. I haven't really spoken that much about it. Just mentioned a few posts for the potential airdrops, but that's pretty much it. So let's talk about some on-chain stuff for Solana. Solana's been burning like crazy. It's, you know, in terms of burning is taking tokens out of circulation, so they can't be interacted with, they can't be bought, they can't be sold. Well, it's essentially a buy, and it's just permanently burnt, so it can never be sold ever again. This is crazy. Look at this. It's huge spike in burnt SOL, and this would be from some probably new meme coin projects and stuff as well, but also because 50% of each transaction fee on Solana is burnt, and the remaining fee is retained by the validators process each transaction as a reward. So it's also because there's just an insane amount of transactions occurring on the Solana blockchain, but you have additional things like this. So, I mean, I don't know why people are still doing pre-sales. As I mentioned in the last video, pre-sales can be pretty dangerous. Even the SEC are going after them. Here we go, people sending 3,000 SOL bricked to this wallet, essentially as a burn. And this is, I think, people sending to the Slurf burn address. So again, like reckless degens just sending their SOL to a burn address, and the positive you could say is that it's making Solana an incredibly deflationary chain, more so than maybe even ETH and the others that, you know, people talk about. So on Solana, more than 20,000 new tokens are created daily. Wow, I mean, that's so many. Like, how do you know which ones can be trusted and which ones could be likely spam? And I mean, there's a lot of meme coins that are getting minted, and look, I don't condone the new meta that seems to be coming up, which I don't know if this is like some sort of attack. I don't know if there's all these racist meme coins that are coming out now. Like, I'm not even gonna give any of them the time of day, because I don't condone it at all, but there's like a new meta that seems to be popping in, and I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. But anyway, this is something that Solana FM is doing to, you know, try and give some sort of credibility to some of the tokens that are being minted out on a daily basis on Solana. And there's a blue check now on Solana FM that shows if it is a verified token or not. So that can be pretty helpful, I suppose. A lot of the meme coins probably won't have this. They even have a little yellow exclamation mark on Bird Eye for the most part. So this is just another way, if you really want something and to invest your money in blue chip Solana assets, then, you know, you can see the blue check, for example, on Solana FM, or you can only interact with the verified tokens on Bird Eye as well. But yeah, I just think this is insane. So many tokens being minted every day on Solana. We also saw over $200 million in stablecoins over the past 48 hours minted on Solana. So there was 76 million on March 20 and then 135 million March 19. There's a huge spike. And you know what they say about the tether print, right? You know, this is like Solana's equivalent of the tether print. You know, when you see these kind of inflows into the ecosystem, then what are people going to do with that? Most likely they're going to buy. So this is pretty bullish overall. And if they haven't deployed this yet, then they're waiting for the right opportunity to deploy. Maybe that's why Solana saw that big spike back up where it went to 168 and it just spiked right back up almost to 190 overnight. So maybe people were just throwing these stablecoins right at Solana to bring it right back up. Now, let's have a look at some more on-chain stuff and statistics for Solana and I guess some other chains in comparison. Now, I did post a few of these on my X and I'll just show these live here because we've got some updates here. So we can see that there's actually been a drop in the daily addresses for Solana and the BNB chain has stepped back up in front of it. Now, I think part of this spike down could be because of that pre-sale for Slurf. Now, I did a video on Slurf in detail, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link up above for that video as well, but maybe this was a bit of a black spot for Solana, and I think the thing is a lot of people are just trading meme coins for the most part on, well, I mean, let's be honest, chains in general, a lot of the activity daily is because of meme coin trading. So when I posted those charts, it was on the 17th, and so we saw that massive spike on Solana that absolutely dominated the chart here, but we've seen some slight pullback here. And these are transactions. I'm not sure if these are non-vote transactions though, but you can see that generally Solana's got more transactions in general on chain. And in terms of DEX volume, still Solana's kind of at the top there, though on the 20th we actually saw Ethereum take the top spot again. And for fees, Solana's catching up slowly to Ethereum, which is pretty crazy to be honest. And we're seeing TVL still grow. I mean, there's a little bit of a dip there, but it's still growing. So I mean, it's good to see at least Solana's still capturing market share when it comes to on-chain trading and activity. Okay, let's cover some other projects here. So I thought this was pretty interesting, and this is a bit of an older post now, admittedly, so I'm not sure what these are worth now, but when I bought my Solana Saga 2, I decided to create a unique backpack wallet just for that phone, and it's already been airdropped this IQ50, which at the time was worth $102. I think that actually went up a little bit more. This cat with hat, which it's only $4 worth, I suppose. But, you know, there you go. Airdrops are coming into the new Solana phone, which is pretty cool. There's a chance it won't be as epic as the first one, admittedly, but it's still pretty cool that, you know, projects decide to airdrop to Solana phone holders. Mentioned it before, and I will cover a little bit more. They've actually got a 2x point boost for the W pre-sale. So, as I mentioned in prior videos, Drift now has trading of Wormhole and other pre-launch markets. So you can go and trade the pre-launch price of tokens like W, which is Wormhole. They've also got a 5x points boost on Solana as well, which I'm taking advantage of personally. And that ends on March the 24th. So it's just a short-term price points boost, but nevertheless, if you're trading on Drift and you're trading Sol specifically, then you'll be getting additional points for doing that. And here's more information on the points boost for W Perpetuals. You need a sub account if you want to use this. So if you want to trade the pre-launch market for Wormhole, for example, you need to create a sub account in order to do that. It needs to be isolated from your normal account, so you can't trade this with everything else, essentially. But, you know, if you want to speculate on the price of Wormhole before it even drops on the market, then Drift is a place where you can do it and also get additional points on Drift for doing it there. Now I cover Guoc from time to time, and they've actually added some prepaid Visa and MasterCard codes to purchase at the Guoc shop with USDC. So that's pretty cool. You can purchase Visa and MasterCard codes with meme coins and other various coins within the Solana ecosystem. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't know what kind of KYC you need here, or even if you do, and maybe you don't, because there's another one that I found called BitStore, for example, and I'm not condoning the use of this. I'm just saying this is something that I found where you can create credit card numbers without any KYC, which I don't know how they do that. I haven't used this, and I probably won't, because I don't really know what kind of regulation they'll come into, but they seem legit enough, and it's a virtual credit card, and essentially you can load it up with Solana USDT. Now, you can't use it for many different things. So, for example, you can't use it in any financial apps. So the physical card you can, but the virtual card you can't use in Google Pay or Samsung Pay or Apple Pay, or if you're Chinese, then 微信服务 or 支付宝服务. which is WeChat Pay or Alipay. You can't use it for Taobao. You can't use it for a lot of things, to be honest. So I'm not really sure where you can even use this. Maybe for paying for random things online. But I mean, that's a way you can spend your SOL, because this is a big thing that I think we will need to tackle going forward, is ways where you can spend your crypto. You know, you might make all this money and you don't want to send it back to your bank, and you want to stay in crypto. And if you watch Ivan on Tech, you know, this is something that he went on about the other day, and I think that this is a really good point. This is something that needs to build out for us. You know, we need some way to spend our profit. You know, you say you bought a bunch of SOL at $23 and then you took profit on it at $200, for example, and you know, sure, you'll probably redeploy some of that, but maybe you want to spend some of that. Maybe you want to go on a holiday, or maybe you want to, I don't know, buy a coffee or something, who knows. So I think this is like a bit of a pain point and something that we need to overcome. These guys have got a physical card, which is pretty cool. It does require KYC. They've got a non-KYC virtual card. I don't really know how that works, but anyway. So Guoc is doing that as well. I'm not sure. I haven't tried to do this. I might give it a go and see what happens. I think it's like a gift card that uses Visa or MasterCard, but anyway, it's ways for us to spend our profits, especially on meme coins and stuff, without leaving the Solana ecosystem. So Camino have finally announced their OG points boost for Camino for the Genesis. A total of 50 million Camino will be allocated to OGs and awarded on a tiered basis. So I don't know what the actual snapshot is for this, but again, with Camino, we can expect more details to be revealed in April. And I've been using Camino since, I would say, Q3 23. So I don't know if I'm an OG or not, but I've definitely been using it for quite some time. But they're going to hold an AMA on their Discord, so potentially you'll find out more information about that there. If you come over to posts like this and you see, you know, random non-blue ticked Caminos posting stuff, just be very careful, because that's fake. So here, distribution-camino.finance, that's its own URL. And if you have a look and you hover over here, no check, and look at the name here, Camino Finance __. So just be very careful, stuff like that. If you're like, oh, what about my allocation? What will I be getting? Don't click on that. That's a scam website, so just be careful. Also, Whales Market has listed Zeus protocol or Zeus Network HQ points for trading, and that's for the Zeus network. So that's Bitcoin on Solana. Well, it's another Bitcoin on Solana, because we already have True Bitcoin and Wrap Bitcoin on Solana, but Zeus is looking to build it out in a much more meaningful way. They won the LFG allocation for the Jupiter launchpad, so we'll see more about them going forward, but at least, you know, you'll be able to trade your points on Whales Market for Zeus. And Adrastea as well, which I mentioned in prior videos, will be on a Jupiter AMA, and they're hoping to land a slot in the next launchpad on Jupiter on the LFG. So if you want to know more about Adrastea, then it's essentially a way for you to use your JLP token in DeFi. So earn more yield and maybe collateralize it, so on and so forth, because the JLP, as I've mentioned many times, is kind of a savings account. It's a high yield, essentially high yield baked onto a stable coin, if you will, where it just kind of goes up only. It has like some small little drawdowns on a day-to-day basis, but you know, if you look at the trend, it's generally up and to the right in a gentle kind of way, and that's just the yield being baked in. Now, people will want to do more with this. Now, Mango has a points booster for it, and there's also a isolated Camino pool for the JLP, but Adrastea want to build this concept out even more. So if you want to know more about this, then I would recommend you go and check out the AMA for more information on what they have planned. I saw this post and it was pretty interesting. So what do you think about Solana versus L2s? So all L2s more centralized than Solana. Well, I did do a bit of a deep dive on this, and you know, even Tolly was having a debate with Eric.eth or something like this about it, and it's hard to really say that ETH L2s are super centralized. I initially thought they were, but when I was looking into it a little bit more, it's hard to really say just how centralized they are. They are technically, I would say, less battle tested than Solana. That would be accurate. They're more expensive than Solana, yes. Even after Dankun, they are generally more expensive than Solana. Some transactions are cheaper, but generally they're still more expensive. They have less dApps, and that is very true. There's like barely anything compared to Solana on the L2s. And if there are good things, they're scattered among different L2s. There's no like one great L2 that has all this cool stuff. It's kind of like, this chain has this thing that's really cool. That chain, or L2 chain, I guess you could say, has this thing that's really cool. It's really fragmented, and so on and so forth, and limited by EVM, which, yeah, that's also very true. Thought this was quite interesting as well, is that Greyscale is filing for a Solana spot ETF conversion for their GSOL trust. Now, their GSOL trust is at an absolute premium. Last time I checked, it was like $520 for one Solana. Absolutely crazy. And I don't know, this probably won't go very far, but they're at least giving it a go for sure. So we'll have to see just how much progress they do on this and where they go with it, but I mean, they're giving it a go, so good on them for that at least. I think I'll wrap this video up here, and I will cover the Cosmos and Injective ecosystems on my next video, because I've been flying all day and running around like crazy, and I think I probably should go to bed. But anyway, hope you liked the video, and if you did, then please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and follow me on X if you want all of the latest developments that I see in real time. And I'll see you on the next one. Keep safe out there. This is Kryptolytix signing out. Have a good one.